So the next question is branding, personal or strictly business? Some people have a mix and they like it mainly business stuff with a few personal bits snapped in to give it a sense of homeliness, and others have no personal stuff. Others go too far and post all their personal stuff like pictures of their food. So what's the right balance? Well, it depends a lot on the channel and the brand that you're setting up. The first thing you've got to do is know your audience. I actually think the way social media is going is that the personal stuff is really important, because otherwise you look a little bit corporate. And if you're corporate, it's hard to build one of the 3 pillars of trust. I always talk about trust in terms of 3 pillars. And the one that I'm talking about is the sense of emotional safety. So that means that you can walk into a room and feel comfortable with someone. It's very hard to do that if they're very corporate. If you've only got before and after pictures with very little of your opinion or your spirit in them, it makes it hard to imagine what you might be like when you get there. And you might be wonderful, but uncertainty creates hesitation in people. So they simply won't call until they feel like, yeah, that's the kind of person I could tell my deepest, darkest insecurities to, for example. So you do need a degree of vulnerability, I would say. And then, of course, there are other reasons to be personal. Obviously, the cliche with Instagram is that you post pictures of yourself living the perfect life. And that is engaging for people. People find it aspirational, but without a little bit of vulnerability in there as well, it can make you feel inaccessible. So the best combination is that they feel like you understand the secret of how to live a happy life. They can buy some of that for you, but also you're a normal person just like them. Without those elements, you don't come across as someone that they can imagine having a conversation with. So that's what I'd suggest, is that mixture. They need to know what you do and that you're good at it. That's what most people do reasonably well without thinking about too much. But the personal stuff is what builds trust in a different way. So I do think you should have a mix of it. And it's up for you what you feel comfortable with. There are people who've built millions of followers without ever showing a picture of any of their kids. You can do that. But if you feel comfortable doing that, occasionally it's fine. I think a lot of people hide behind their kids. Miranda actually told me this, who's my wife. She's very interested in personal branding. And she pointed out that for a long time she was doing that. You feel comfortable putting a picture of someone else on social media, especially when they're cute and gorgeous because they're your kids. But actually what people want to know is you're the main character. How are you engaging with life and with your business, so that they can make an assessment whether they'd like to be seen by you or not. Effectively, that's what it is. So a degree of vulnerability is important, and that means you've got to be a little bit personal. Just don't be boring. The final thing I would say is whatever you are, don't be beige, don't be boring. The stuff that you're most afraid people will spot about you, your quirkiness, is probably the only thing that differentiates you from everyone else. So I would say be real, because that's the only thing you can be. If you're not being real, you're basically being a cardboard cutout, and no one wants to see a cardboard cutout. Be yourself, even if you're imperfect. It's probably the only thing that differentiates you from the next person.